Welcome, everybody, to the Moscow School District Community Schools Podcast. I'm Brian Smith, principal at Paradise Creek Regional High School. I'm also the community coordinator for career technical education and community schools. This broadcast is brought to you by the Nez Perce Tribe Local Education Fund grant. This grant has allowed us to build this awesome podcast studio inside of Moscow High School. We bring in all kinds of amazing guests. Just wait till you get to hear who you meet today, but I'm going to save it. And we get to share all this information with our community. So what is community schools? Community schools are public schools that act as the center of their neighborhoods, uniting families, educators, and community partners to provide support and resources to students and families. They go beyond traditional schooling by addressing social, emotional, and health needs of students while also engaging families and community members in the learning process. That's a lot to take in. What it looks like here in Moscow is we do whatever we can with the amazing community partners here to make sure every single student can thrive. We love to use this podcast to shout out different opportunities we have, different resources we have, and you're going to get many today. Why is that? Because today's theme is everything kindergarten. That's right. We're going down to the first entry point of our amazing public school system, and I have some incredible guests. All the way from McDonald Elementary, I have Mrs. Brandy Urie.
Yay! Hello, everybody. Glad to be here.
All right. And from West Park Elementary, I have Mrs. Jillian Ochoa.
Woo woo! Hello, everyone.
And of course, from Lena Whitmore Elementary, Mr. Asher Johnson.
Hello.
Oh, man, yeah. So this is really intimidating for me here on the microphone. I have three unbelievable educators. I'm going to try to get out of the way and let them explain everything. What we're hoping you get from this podcast is a lot of knowledge about what it means to go to kindergarten in the Moscow School District. We're going to talk about what the classroom looks like, all those little nerves before signing our kids up for it. We might even get into some of those first day details. So if you're one of our regular listeners and you know a family in the area who has a child approaching that kindergarten age, send them this podcast. I bet it'll solve a lot of questions and answers. But also, I can't say it enough, call your local school. You can call any school in this district and say, this is where I'd live. I'd love to learn more about the kindergarten program, and whoever answers that phone will get you to the right people. So to begin, we're going to do some introductions. So let's start first. Mr. Asher Johnson, why don't you just go ahead and formally introduce yourself and your history with the Moscow School District?
Hello, my name is Asher Johnson. I'm one of the kindergarten teachers at Lena Whitmore Elementary School. I did my student teaching at Lena Whitmore, and I'm now in my second year of teaching kindergarten and second year at Moscow School District.
Look at that. And everyone, it's all smiles from him, by the way. That not every second-year teacher is all smiles by the time that it's 3:20 in the afternoon, but it is from Mr. Johnson here. Awesome. Thanks for being here. Mrs. Ochoa?
Jillian Ochoa. I have been teaching kindergarten for 9 years, and 8 of them have been with the Moscow School District. I also did my student teaching at West Park Elementary School in kindergarten and special education. Such a wonderful opportunity. And I've just been enjoying all my years throughout the school district. It's a great place to send your kids and for them to just feel loved and supported and for us to build relationships with you as a family.
Awesome. Thank you. And for everyone who knows their teachers, we decided we're going to go by first names, which is actually going to take me a minute, but thank you, Jillian. Okay. And then Brandy Urie from McDonald Elementary.
Hi, everybody. I am Mrs. Brandy Urie. I teach at McDonald Elementary. My tenure with the Moscow School District actually started in 2006. Doing work study and practicum through the University of Idaho. I did student teaching 4th grade at Russell. And then this is my 7th year in kindergarten, which I will hopefully never graduate from.
Aww.
Oh, I love that. So, Brandy, I'm going to stay with you. So this is really incredible that we just talked to 3 educators who all student taught in this district and now working here. Why do you think that's the case? What is it about the Moscow School District that keeps great educators like you all around?
I feel like when you get in and you get to know the kids and you get to know the teachers and the office staff, it's just you kind of get hooked. You kind of get attached. I was a little sad at first when they talked about, okay, some of us are going to have to maybe go out to Troy or Potlatch, or those of you from Boise are going to have to head back. But when I heard that I was selected to get to stay in Moscow, I was so excited because I love this district. I love the teachers. There isn't a building in this district that I wouldn't want to go into. So
I love that. And, Asher, you are kind of sort of a recent grad, although 2 years of teaching experience is kind of a lifetime. So congratulations on that success. But when you said you studied at the University of Idaho, is that right?
Correct.
Did you get a lot of time inside our schools and classes being a student of U of I?
I did. Actually, a fun fact, I did a work study and a practicum in Brandy's classroom.
It was awesome. I was so happy to see him come back too. Yes.
Wait a second. Okay, if you're not aware, this is such a Moscow thing to have happen. So Asher, you student taught with Brandy.
Correct. Or no, sorry, not student teaching, work study and practicum.
Got it. Okay. And now we're all here together. Yeah, I feel that this is what helps build that Moscow School District culture. We all take care of ourselves. You said it right. It's so infectious here. You move here, you raise your kids here, you just want to be part of the school district.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so now we know who's around the table. So, Jillian, I'm going to start here. We're going to go right into the kindergarten world. I don't know if there's a grade level out there that has more nerves and fear from parents, right? I mean, our little ones, they're like, oh yeah, I mean, I'm ready to go most of the time. Like, you can't wait to sign up. But we're going to talk to the parents a little bit here. Jillian, what would you say are essential skills that parents or guardians should practice as they're sort of approaching that kindergarten age?
Oh, this is a big question, so hold with me. But I first want to start and just let you know that your child's kindergarten teachers are kindergarten teachers for a reason. They love being the first face that they see starting throughout the district and being able to start that relationship with the families. So your child's kindergarten teacher is excited to meet your kid and to be a part of this journey and to be the first part of the journey within education. But some of the skills that I have been looking over and just really thinking about is some of those life skills, such as support your kiddo in getting them dressed independently for the day, snapping their pants, zipping up their jackets, as well as familiarizing them with flushing the toilets. We have automatic flushers in the bathrooms that we have, and it can be really intimidating for them. So that's always something that we might not think about when you're entering kindergarten, but really helps them feel comfortable within the environment because they have a little bit of an independence. Otherwise, there's some skills for the classroom that are really beneficial. Getting used to tools such as pencil, crayons, scissors, learning how to cut, being able to identify letters that are in their names, being able to count simply to 10, but really just giving them exposure. There's so many ways to do it naturally, whether it's putting their letters and their names around your home on sticky notes or going outside and you're counting to 20 on the swing. So there's so many ways to start implementing what school might look like in such a natural way.
I agree. Those were some great points. I'd also like to add that I think you should teach your kid playing some simple games and teaching your kid how to lose. I've noticed a lot of students, you have to teach them how to lose at games and how to play nicely. So I just thought I would throw that in there.
Yeah, that's a great skill.
Yeah,
Brandy, do you want to add anything?
I think I want to jump on what Jillian is saying, that independent skills, independently being able to dress themselves, zip up their coats on their own. Tying shoes is a big one, so sometimes we really like those Velcro shoes for quick changes. But starting that process of teaching them to tie their own shoes. And then something a lot of folks don't really practice enough coming in is opening their lunchbox. So like that month before school, you guys, it would be awesome if you would pack their lunch just like you would at school, give them time to practice opening those containers and closing them back up again so they're not spilling all over. It's such a simple thing, but I cannot tell you how much help we have to provide in that first month because the kids are just holding up the packaging for you to open. So try to kind of build that independence for them. They can feed themselves, they can dress themselves, and then also giving them that advocating for themselves. It's okay to ask for help. In fact, it's really important that you let us know when you need it, and you're not going to be in trouble if you don't know because you just got here. We don't expect you guys to know anything yet. So seeking help when you need it is also something that you really want to make sure your kiddo knows they can do. And as Jillian was saying, we're really happy to see them. We want to be that first face. We want to be that comfort. We are that adult that they are working through coming into school with. we end up helping a little more than maybe a first grade or a second grade teacher would just by developmental design. They're 5 and 6 at best. So
I have to say, though, of all the skills you just mentioned, I feel like I echo these a lot at the high school level. So maybe these are just general core values. Yeah. But this leads me, though, when I'm hearing you say this, I'm trying to put myself back when I had my own son enter kindergarten. There are so many nerves, like my child is not reading yet, or there isn't always a consistent letter that they recognize. I didn't hear a lot of stress from any three of you about these areas. So knowing that you've worked with so many parents over these years, can you share some themes that you've heard from parents that have caused a lot of stress and anxiety as they're getting ready for kindergarten, and maybe put some of that at ease?
Well, I guess I could jump on the letters. You know, a lot of parents who come in are like, my kid doesn't know how to read yet. They don't know their letters yet. That's okay. That's really a big meat and potatoes part of what we're doing in kindergarten, getting them to associate the letter sounds with the letters themselves. It's really helpful if a kiddo can come in recognizing their name, but it's not required they can write it yet. That's what we're going to spend the first couple of weeks doing. So as Jillian was saying, just simple, if they can count to 10, if they can recognize their name, if they can independently be in the bathroom and come get help, we're going to help them get the rest of what they need. That's what we're here to do, to give them that academics, to get them to the point where they light up, oh, I'm reading. I have yet to have a kid leave my room not being able to say that. And it might just be a simple sentence, but it's still powerful. When you have that moment, you've got them.
It's hard not to be motivated by all that enthusiasm from you all around this. This is why, though, like you'd said, you're kindergarten teachers for a reason, and you accept every child, no matter how they come in. What are some other themes that you've heard from parents that have caused a lot of stress prior to kindergarten that you've been able to put at ease in your past?
I do think one of the main things is my kid doesn't know letters. My kid isn't reading yet. But I'm just trying to look back at our kindergarten screeners, which we do in the fall before the kiddos come in. And that's a great place to elaborate to the teacher that you're meeting with of those concerns. But one of the main things I always emphasize to those parents is this is my job. This is what I have spent years just learning to grow in and mastering my craft within it. And so we are going to do our absolute best to get your kiddo where they need to be academically. So your kiddo might not be coming and reading. That is okay. We don't expect that. And so just giving them that confidence of that kindergarten is going to be a great experience. Your teacher's there to help you. You're going to meet new friends. Is going to help them get the confidence to then learn how to read. We talk about reading at the beginning of the school year, and a lot of kids come in and we open our first book and they say, I don't know how to read, Mrs. Ochoa. And I always say, all right, well, this book actually has no words. So let's use the pictures. Can you tell me about this book? What are you seeing? And then after we do that, I'm rewarding them right away saying, look at that. You guys are readers. You guys just came up with your own story. And so it's starting small until we get big. And the kids, they get it. And it's amazing to see what they get because even when I was in kindergarten, I was not getting pushed to the level that these kindergartners are getting pushed to right now.
That's great. Oh, go ahead, Asher. Yeah.
Just one thing to build off of that. It's going to be hard at first, but as I tell my kids, you can do hard things. And by the time winter break comes around, you see such a huge difference in these kids. And I love seeing that huge difference, so they can get it done.
Yeah,
I love that. You can do hard things is something I say to my kids, and I always say it's going to get easier with, and they echo back to me, practice. So getting okay with making mistakes, getting okay with trying, failing, and trying again, I think is a really important part of the work that we're doing here.
Yes.
So what if I'm a parent and my student is reading before kindergarten, where text or numbers have just a natural skill set, and I'm watching them navigate their own library in the bedroom before we've even gotten to school? I know that I've heard parents say, are they going to kind of just have to wait for everyone else to catch up? Asher, could you address that a little bit if I've got a kiddo coming in with some serious skills in these areas?
I would say I'm definitely going to push that student past their comfortable zones. I might give them AR books. I might have them focusing on different blends. I could have a guest come into the classroom to work with them, but I'm definitely going to push this student beyond their comfort zone to see what they can accomplish.
I agree. We are always trying to push these kids to their highest potentials. So we're always going to differentiate in ways that are going to push them and challenge them. And also, we have wonderful resources within our school, too. I just would like to shout out Mrs. Wiesner, who works with kiddos at West Park, and Lena, and would be a wonderful guest for the podcast as well.
Ooh, and Melissa Harmon is our McDonald extended learning. We do have the extended learning, the enrichment program. What I would add on, for those, I've had students that come in reading full-on chapter books. So we do challenge them academically, but all of these kids, whether they're reading or they're not, are all still coming in learning how to school. Here's how you come into the day. Here's how you follow a routine. Here's how you gather materials. Those kids that don't know how to write yet, and the kids that might, still need to learn how to do that in a school environment. There's most of kindergarten turns out to be not as much academics as we would think. It's learning how to be in a school environment, how to get our needs met, how to regulate through frustration, how to work through resources. So don't be afraid if your child's a reader. We're going to keep challenging them. But they're also probably there to learn things that you might not think of. They're not going to come home with it in their hands. It'll be in their heads and in their hearts.
I love this. It's so hard to replicate some of those challenges at home. I mean, that's the beauty of public school in general, is that we're going to put everyone together and you're going to learn how to work collaboratively. I mean, everything you just described could occur at any senior level CTE class today. You know, we could be in the middle of a CNA class at Gritman, and I'm still struggling with persevering through not getting a skill right the first time.
Right.
And it all starts from being able to persevere and do hard things and ask questions. And I just can't stress enough that the Moscow School District specifically creates these scenarios because we have high expectations.
Absolutely.
It's a high-performing district. We've been that way for years and years with a high go-on rate to university levels, along with all kinds of CTE pathways. But it starts with you all. And to hear the way that you're describing without a hesitation, great. You're reading chapter books when you come in? I've got you. This is the first time you've seen a letter? I've got you. We're going to push both ways. I just think it's so inspiring to hear you all do that. So let me talk about the other piece that I know parents worry about. I'm an hour into my first kindergarten day, and I miss Mom. Tears are flowing. I can't believe she left me in this strange place with these strange people. And that's really probably what sits at the heart of a lot of parents, at least through those first couple days. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how we help condition students to the classroom environment, and when it is a hard day and I'm having big emotions, what we do to respond.
I want to reassure you that your kiddo on that first day is going to show tears, and it is going to be hard to leave you. But I want to reassure you that when they walk through those doors and the 5-minute transition of hanging up their backpacks in their lockers and meeting us on the carpet and meeting their teacher and seeing some of their friends or some unfamiliar faces, they are calm and they are adjusting and looking with their bright eyes at us, and we know it's going to be a great day. And so your kids, when you leave them, you are probably thinking, oh, this was hard. But they are doing amazing, and it is wonderful to see how that first day ends. And never hesitate to reach out to the teacher. The teachers are going to want to do check-ins with you, whether it's at the end of the day or the end of the week, but that is how you build those relationships. And some of my fondest memories of teaching are also those relationships with the families, and so don't hesitate to reach out. That teacher's going to update you and let you know how your little kiddo is doing, and just know that they're in good hands, and this little bit of independence that you're giving them is really the future for their education, and believing in themselves and knowing it's okay to make mistakes, and them seeing their teachers make mistakes and just growing together within that.
If I have a kid that sometimes misses mom, misses dad, grandma, anybody, I'll say, hey, let's write them a note. Like, let's tell them how great you're doing today. I'll write it, you write it, or maybe you want to draw them a picture. Like, I miss my grown-ups too sometimes. That's totally normal, but we can get through this together.
I find that the first week, really, we have a very structured routine in kindergarten. I'm sure both my colleagues would agree with me. And that's by design. Kids will be more comfortable and feel less anxiety if they know what's coming. You don't know what's coming for the first day. So we spend a lot of time on that first day talking about what's coming next. Hi, everybody, welcome. You're going to come into the classroom and hang up your bag. They get to do it. We talk about how they did it afterwards. We're going to spend some time talking about going to recess and what it's going to look like like at recess, then we'll go to recess and we talk about it afterwards. I also have a visual schedule up in my classroom. It looks like my colleagues do as well. I'll actually put an arrow on it for that first month so they know where we are, because right here at the bottom is going home time. And I try to make it really, really clear. Okay, we've got calendar, recess, snack, go home. I even have him echo it to me. And then I like to use Asher's trick as well. If a kiddo is just teary, we acknowledge that. We stop and we breathe with them. We offer a hug if they want that, but we do not require it, of course. And then pictures are really helpful. Would you like to draw them a letter? Would you like to draw them a picture? And I've had students in the past where I have invited them to bring in their picture, and they just keep it in their little bucket. And then, oh, when you're missing, why don't you go give your mommy's picture a hug? You're going to see her right after recess and snack time. So that routine, I think, really helps ease a lot of the anxiety.
That's awesome. To build off that picture idea that you have, in my classroom, I have a picture wall, our family wall. And so similar to like hugging the picture, I just send them to the wall. Go look at the picture of your family, and that will help them remember happy memories.
Aww.
That's sweet.
Yeah, those are great. Those are great. I mean, I don't know as a parent if you don't hear that you feel that sense of warmth and care. That's really incredible. And to just be so forward about involving families. Sometimes it can feel like when those school doors close, the family's left out, right? This is the first time that I'm not here. But no, clearly family's a big part of it. So maybe you could speak about what are the roles and things that come on a parent's plate of having a kindergartner as far as communication and expectations on the parent sides of things.
Well, every year at orientation, I always have a chat with parents about, your kid is going to share everything with me. I promise to only believe about half of it if you promise me the same. And if they're coming back and saying something kind of crazy happened, you're like, what? Ask me. I don't anticipate this 5-6-year-old to be a good mediator. If you want to know what's happening, message me. You can't message me too much. I'm not going to check it to the end of the day, but I will always respond within 24 hours. If you're wondering what's happening, let me know. I'm happy to share with you and kind of suss out the crazy stories they come home with.
That should really actually be a general rule in all grades. I'll just throw that out there. I like that a lot.
I'm finding most of what I'm saying is true that way.
It really, wow. We just don't move on much past kindergarten is what I'm learning a lot in this podcast,
true.
and I love it.
I think one more thing just to add on to that, please reiterate what your student is learning at school at home. So if your student is learning how to use safe hands or a safe body, they should be expected to use a safe hands or safe body at home as well. It can be difficult sometimes when they learn something at school and then those expectations go away at home.
Yeah, Asher, I'm going to ask you more on that. So sometimes we don't have that language before we have a student start school. You just said safe body, safe hands. That might be the first time as a parent I go, I wish I had known those two words all these 5 years up to now. If I struggle as a parent to kind of know that language, am I okay to reach out?
Of course. Just similar to Brandy, send me a message, send me a phone call, an email. I also won't respond till the end of the day, but I'm open to communication. I'll try to support where I can. I, of course, don't have children, but my second year of teaching, I'll throw any ideas that I have.
Yeah, that's great. So, Jillian, am I going to get homework as a kindergarten parent? Is that something to expect at this age level, or what does it look like once my kiddo gets home?
Yeah, I can speak for West Park Elementary School. We do not send home homework. However, you might receive unfinished work. And that is more so coming from if we have a large chunk of learning time in kindergarten and independent work time. And so your kids are working really, really hard. Sometimes they miss a little bit and we still want them to get that skill and that practice. So we might send it home, and usually when I'm sending it home, I'm saying, hey, see if you can do this at home. Bring it back tomorrow. I'll give you a high five or a hug. So more so just giving them that practice because I don't want them to miss out on that. But usually I really just press reading books at home with your kiddos, 10 to 20 minutes a night. Maybe at West Park, we send home little readers home so that you know what level of reading your kiddo should be at within 90%. So a little room for errors, but feeling confident about reading at home as well. Otherwise, we're not pushing homework hard at home. They are working so hard throughout the school day already. We want them to be engaged with you at home, having those dinner time conversations, and still being able to have family time.
So for McDonald, we also don't really have formal homework, but we do book bags. So after your first conference, you'll actually get to meet with a teacher where we explain what this is. But we'll send home a couple books a week. We ask parents try to read with their kiddos, to their kiddos, let the kiddos read to them, their sibling, a stuffy. And it doesn't even have to be the books we send. You can listen to an audiobook. You can go on to Epic and watch a book on video. But we're hoping for about 20 minutes a day or 100 minutes a week, whatever fits best for your family. As Jillian's saying, they work hard all day long. They're going to be tired, especially that first month. Give them a snack, give them a rest, lay on the floor and read a book, maybe play a board game. That's about as complex as homework really gets. Your job is to make sure your child is rested and ready to come back the next day to hammer it out again.
I just would love to note that we want them to love school. So if we are pushing school during the school day and then going home and you're pushing school at home too, they aren't going to be excited to come back the next day. We want them to love school. This is their first experience, and we want them to continue growing and loving school throughout all the grades.
That's fantastic. So let's go to that big learning day. Can one of you walk through what a typical day might look like in kindergarten? Now, I know that's a big question, so you don't have to go minute by minute, but maybe some general themes of what our kiddos' day looks like in kindergarten.
I feel like it might be a little bit different classroom to classroom. At least in my classroom, we start the day with arrival. They come into the classroom. We usually start with a desk job, maybe coloring, maybe a different worksheet, and then we move into calendar. We're talking about the days of the week. Usually some math concepts are brought up during this time. Then we move into reading, then our reading word work job, which is another desk job. We have some recesses. Afterwards, we have specials, PE and music, lunchtime. And on Fridays, we get to have our counselor, Miss Rainey, come, and we have library time. So there's a lot of transitions throughout the day. They're moving around a lot, but they get to learn lots as well.
That sounds a lot like my day as well. We have our entry to the morning. We call it morning meeting. It's a little something we do together, just kind of build that camaraderie, do our lunch count, and then we have some independent work time on our iPads. So we utilize a program called Lexia to practice reading concepts, and then later in the day we do happy numbers for math. So there's a little bit of iPad time. We come back for whole group. We take a recess break. We come back for independent work and small groups. We go to lunch. As you can see, like Asher said, there's a lot of transitions. That's because the kindergarten attention span is 5, maybe 10 minutes, depending on your kiddo if they're really calm. I always tell my kids, we're not sitting here for more than 10 minutes. After about 10 minutes of reading a story, we hop up, brain break, come back so I can start asking those comprehension questions. You know, you just can't hammer a kindergartner for 30 minutes. So we're always being very responsive to their needs. My schedule doesn't really have times on it. Is this goes to this. So if we need to stop and take a brain break, we absolutely can. You got to be responsive to those little guys or they're just not going to get anything in there. We also have library. We have Mr. Schiffelbein who does Second Step, our school counselor. And then our specialist rotations include PE, music, and movement.
Wow, I couldn't have said it better than Asher and Brandy. Our days seem to really align. And in case you're wondering too, we also have Lexia, happy numbers. We get 3 recesses a day. And we start our mornings with reading, whole group time, and then we go off to centers, independent work. And the learning time is broken up from those recesses. So it's really great to be able to get those wiggles out, get their brains moving in fresh air. Get their bodies moving in fresh air. And then we also have Mrs. Hightower, our wonderful school counselor, and she comes to our classrooms once a week and teaches a lesson. And then we have library on Fridays with Mrs. T, and they get to check out books each week. And so that's just another way to encourage reading within your home.
And I feel like it's important to add, we're talking a lot about academic tasks, but a lot of times academics can look very different in a kindergarten classroom. Yes, we're working on numbers right now, but we're playing a game while we do it. Yes, we're building words right now, but we're rolling dice before we write them. So when you walk into the room, it's going to look like we're playing, but we are really busy at the work of kindergarten in there. We always find ways to make play align with the academics, because if kids can't play, they're not processing all this information we're dumping at them throughout the day.
I'd like to add, since you are mentioning play, is we also allow time for free choice at the end of the day. Those kids have worked really hard, and free choice is time for them to play, whether it's at a kitchen, whether it's with bins of magnets, subs, marbles. This is also time for social interactions. So it's just like recess in the sense that we're learning to work together. Something might happen, and we're kind of encouraging them to problem solve together instead of me just solving the problem for them. So lots of playtime as well towards the end of the day. And the kids really look forward to that.
I like that time to kind of get kids, give them the scripts for how to work through when they each want the same toy. It's a big part of kindergarten is learning how to share materials and get your needs met without unsafe hands.
I agree. Choice time in our classroom is a huge time for problem-solving skills, friendship skills, just all those things that they need to learn to be a human being as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. So, we're getting in that season, right? We're already there. So I was wondering if any of you could share. We've got important events coming up for families. Just a little bit of details maybe from each school about, how do we get signed up for kindergarten? Am I too late if I'm hearing this now and realized, oh no, my kid's supposed to be in kindergarten next year? What are the important dates and things coming up? And I'll let each of you share for your schools.
I'll go ahead and start for West Park Elementary School. If you are not connected and getting Mrs. Slutland's emails, I highly suggest that you call West Park Elementary School and see how you can get signed up for those emails, because she is sending out weekly reminders on how to get registered, and also a Google Docs form that is going to just give the teachers a little bit more information about your kiddo to help make class lists and to just kind of understand your kiddo as a whole, and not just the little glimpse we get at them at case screeners. So please reach out to the school within your zoning to find out more information on how to register and how to get connected via email. I can give you some dates for our West Park families. August 18th, we have our kindergarten screeners, and that is when you're going to bring your kids, and we're going to only see them for about 5 minutes. And I'm going to just do some quick screeners with them about letter names, numbers, colors, just get a little glimpse at what they know, and then we're going to call the guardians in, and we're going to have a little conference, find out information that you want us to know, strengths, weaknesses, worries, allergies, just some information that we really want to feel confident about going into the school year. August 23rd is a kindergarten play date. So if you have an incoming kindergartner, this is going to be hosted at West Park Elementary School with our PAT, and it's just a time for kindergartners with their parents to come and play. So there won't be teachers there. There won't be recess duties. It's incoming kindergarten students with their parents. August 25th is going to be meet the teacher and drop off school supplies. That is a very exciting day for teachers and students. That's when some of the nerves might really come out, but it's such a joyful time, and it just gets us so excited for the next school year. And then for all three of us, for Lena Whitmore Elementary, McDonald Elementary, and the whole district, really, the first day of school is August 27th.
Just to build off on that, I don't have all the dates yet for Lena Whitmore Elementary, but similar to what Brian said and Jillian, reach out to the schools. They will point you in the direction of who you need to be talking to. If you are at Lena Whitmore, give Mrs. McMillan a call, an email. I've seen her give families tours of the school. She'll tell you what to expect, the dates that you need, and we're so excited for any incoming kindergarten students.
Awesome. Yes. So unfortunately, I don't have dates either, except for I do have a couple that I know. If you have not registered your kindergarten student yet, have no fear. It is not too late. Call really any of the schools. And if you're not sure, I'm not sure if I'm zoned here, call any of them. Call McDonald Elementary, tell them your address. Miss Vicky up at the office is going to be like, oh, you're West Park, and she will give you the number. Call them. They'll get you the registration paperwork. It's just, the things that you need. Your address, your child's name, what they like to be called. Allergies is a really big one. We want to know when their birthday is. And then I want to know, how is your child going home? Because we don't count on the 5-year-old to tell us that. We also have our kindergarten screener. We're doing that on August 18th. our sessions at McDonald it's a 30-minute block, but you're not going to be with the teacher the whole time. Part of that is coming in, turning in paperwork, getting a tour of the school. Sometimes there's a vision or a speech screening, and then I'll sit down with your kiddo for about 10 minutes to run through. And it's the exact same program we use across the district to screen the kids. What letters do they know? What numbers do they know? Do they know a couple shapes? Can they name some colors? Really what we're watching is, do they interact with us? How do they respond when they're in an unfamiliar situation with an unfamiliar adult, asking them to perform all of a sudden? We give them a pencil, see if they can write their name, draw me a triangle, those sorts of things. So that will be on August 18th and maybe the 19th, depending on how many more friends we can get registered.
So register.
Register. We also do a back-to-school play date. I want to say it's put on by our PTO, the parent-teacher organization, the Saturday before the first day of school. And then usually it's the Tuesday before the first day of school, we have our back-to-school night. And that's everybody. K-5 comes. They get to come in, see the classroom, drop off supplies. You're not going to get a chance to talk with your teacher very long because it's the whole school. But come on down. Check it out. We're happy to have you.
I love it. So it's not too late. And we can't stress enough. If you do not know, I don't know if my child's old enough, I don't know the rules about kindergarten, just call any of the elementary schools or the district office and we'll walk you through it. And essentially the thing to remember, parents, is that if your student turns 5 by September 1st, they are eligible for kindergarten. That's how it works. If you are one of those birthdays that's close to that date, as far as before, should I wait a year? What do I do with my kiddo here? Just call. We will walk you through all kinds of options to make sure that you know how to best support that kid, because there's no place greater to go to kindergarten than the Moscow School District.
Yeah.
So the final thing I'd like to ask you all is, and you could take it either way, but what brings you the most joy being a kindergarten teacher? And if you want to add to that, what brings you the most joy being a kindergarten teacher in the Moscow School District? Brady, do you want to start?
Sure. I love being in the Moscow School District. I feel so loved and supported within the community. And that's saying something in the state of Idaho, my friends. Kindergarten is just special, though. And I think it's getting to be, I'm there first. We all remember the name of our kindergarten teacher, right? Good or bad? Everyone is going to remember. I had Mrs. Urie. I have 5th graders who come back to give me hugs because they remember how it felt to be in my room. They might not remember all the things I said. They might not remember every letter. Well, they know all the letters I've taught. But they might not remember every vocabulary word I gave them. But they remember how they felt. And I think that's what keeps me in the Moscow School District. I remember how I feel here. I feel seen. I feel valued. I am treated as a professional, and the relationships I get to make with the families is, I think, what keeps me in kindergarten. It's just, you really get to know the family, the kiddo, what they need, what they love, what they hate, and in talking with the parents and supporting their child, you almost build this web of community that comes out from giving them that first good experience. We're setting them up for the whole rest of their academic career here, and there isn't a person in here that doesn't take that job seriously. I think that's what keeps me in kindergarten, and especially Moscow.
I agree. Just feeling so welcomed in Moscow School District. That's another huge reason why I stayed after student teaching. I felt so welcomed, included, treated as a professional, just like you said, Brandy. And as a new teacher, I can't promise that I'm always going to stay in kindergarten, but being that first face that they see at the school day, or even being in school, and then also having students in the hallway that recognize me from last year. Oh, Mr. Johnson, can I have a hug? I just love seeing how much they grow, especially from the first day of school all the way to the last day of school, the progress that they've made, all the little aha moments. I just love seeing their happy faces.
Yeah, I actually was fortunate enough to go through the Moscow School District. I was a McDonald Duck, and then a Cub, and then a Moscow Bear. And there is something special about this community and the dedication that each teacher has. I did my student teaching through the Moscow School District, like I said, but I ended up moving away for a year and getting some experience. And as soon as openings popped up in Moscow, I knew I wanted to be back here. And so it really is a special district where you feel supported. You make relationships with your colleagues, with the families of your students. You have the district isn't too big to where you don't know the families. Like, you truly know them and you get their siblings, and it's just such a strong relationship that you build. So I would say what I love most about kindergarten is the family connections, the relationships we make that carry on for years, but also it is the light bulb, the little sponges that they are. They learn and grow so much. I can tell you, being a teacher, you can't come to your job like upset or grumpy or waking up on the wrong side of the bed. Like, you show up and you see these kids and they love you and they are so excited to learn from you and grow with you. And really, that's what we're doing as teachers too. We're learning and growing with them. So it really is such a privilege.
Totally. And to build on the learning and growing, in Moscow School District, there's so many opportunities to grow professionally, to be involved with the community. And that's another thing that keeps me here in Moscow. I can have teacher development classes. I've had one with Brian Smith before on classroom management, and that was awesome. Or just going out in the community, supporting my students at sporting events, or something at the university where I see students, parents, families, coworkers. It's just a great place to be, to learn, and to grow.
This is just fantastic. I will say, as a colleague, I cannot thank you all enough for what you do, for your service for this district. You are the first face and the first experience. And, I was a principal at West Park for a long time, so I got to see it firsthand. But I'll tell you now, working with our oldest students as they prepare for their careers and be college ready, they still talk about you. They do. You're so right, Brandy. There is something about kindergarten and that kindergarten teacher. It just makes it magical. And so on behalf of all the colleagues around the district, I want to thank you three and all the other kindergarten teachers that we couldn't have in this tiny little podcast studio, because I'd love to have you all, but we'd be out of microphones and headphones really fast. But I just want to thank you all for your service through here. And then more importantly, as a parent, I want to thank you all for making every kid in Moscow feel seen. It is so important now that kids can feel like they are a person, that they're important and they bring something to the table, no matter what their background is, no matter what might be in the way or not in the way. You all make sure all of our kids get seen. And I think that's the secret sauce to Moscow's success. As you watch them age, these are seriously empowered kids that want to see what they deserve as learners and as people. And it all starts with you. So it's just fantastic. Well, I'm ready for kindergarten now. I'm all kinds of hyped up and inspired. Again, if you're a listener here and you know that neighbor that is unsure about kindergarten, I haven't registered, I don't know a choice, share this podcast, share it out, and let them know what it's like to come to Moscow School District. Encourage them to call their local elementary school or the district office, and we'll get them scored away. So again, this is the Moscow School District Community Schools Podcast. What an outstanding episode. Thank you three, and we'll be back in another month. We'll see you then. Take care.